Hey there, I'm Lance and I'm a gamer.
And I'm Sam and I'm a non-gamer.
And we are Love to Hate, where we try to help gamers find great games to play with non-gamers.
And today we're taking a look at the expansion, Sobek 2-player Treasure of the Pharaoh by Pandasaurus Games.
As Sam mentioned, this is the newest expansion for Sobek 2 Players, which was a game that we reviewed a while back. And if you'd like to check out that video, you can click the I in the top right corner and it'll take you to it. But this is an expansion that adds a couple of new components to the game and a new element to completing your sets of goods. So much of this game is built upon what I like to call the King Domino scoring mechanism, where you are multiplying your tiles by some other element, in this case scarabs. Well, the new expansion here adds some more to that. As well as some other components. In fact, let's go down to the table, let me show you what's included in it, and then we'll come back and share our thoughts on it as a gamer and non-gamer.
All right, here's Sobek 2 Players with the expansion Treasures of the Pharaoh. Now, in this portion of the video, I am not going to explain the rules for Sobek 2 Players, as we've already done a video about that. And again, you can check that video out clicking the I in the top right corner, and it will show you how to play Sobek 2 Players. I am just going to explain what comes in the expansion here, Treasures of the Pharaoh, and explain a little bit of the rules of how it adds to the game. So these are the components, what you find inside of this box here, and we've already done an unboxing video of it actually, and you can check out that video if you would like by clicking the I in the top right corner. And so this is what you have here. So I'm just going to go over the components real quick. You have two new scoring markers that go over 100 points, and then if you flip these over, 150 points, and so that's very simple. You have two new, and I'm going to mispronounce these, I always do, Piragu tokens, I believe. And these tokens are the tokens that you will have on this side, and you'll shuffle them up with the other ones that come in the base game. And you'll have 5 on the side of the board, at least I think it's 5, it might be 6. Anyhow, you will have the ability to use these if you select them. So what do these two tokens do? Well, this token right here is going to let you add 2 scarabs to a set that you've already sold of these 2 specific types of resources, marble and then ebony wood, or I'm not sure what that is. But anyhow, you get to add 2 scarabs to those sets. And that's at the end of the game. You can add this at the end of the game. This token right here is going to allow you to remove at random one of your opponent's Daemon tokens. And so you'll take all their Daemon tokens, shuffle them up, select one, and discard it. So those are very nice and simple additions to the game. You have 2 new character tiles, and these are going to get added into the set of tiles that will be placed out on the board at random. And so these 2 characters, you can use them whenever you draw them. This particular one right here, he is going to allow you to discard one of these corruption tokens. Now, these are new tokens, which I'll explain here in just a second as to what they do, but he's going to let you discard one of them. And this guy right here, he's basically going to act as a wild character, letting you copy a character that has already been used at that point in the game. And so that's a nice one to get. Now, this is the main meat of what is added in Treasures of the Pharaoh expansion. You have these Pharaoh tiles here. Now, these Pharaoh tiles, they're going to look similar to the tiles that you are making sets out of. However, you'll notice that they have 2 different resources on them, and they all have 2 scarabs on them. And so what this is going to let you do is it's going to let you add this tile to one of the sets that you are selling that are on that tile there. So in this instance, wheat or marble. And you can see here that you have combinations of all the different types, and you choose which set you're adding it to. So I'm adding it to my cattle, for instance, and it lets me add 2 scarabs to it. Now, you are able to do this at a cost, though. So these are not just free scarabs with the sets that you're selling. No, you do have to take one of these corruption tiles. And the corruption tiles are going to look like this when you play the game, because they're all going to be mixed up face down. And you will select one at random, and this is corruption. And if you'll recall, the corruption is something you do not want to have the most of at the end of the game. And you'll keep this secret. You won't let the other players see how much corruption you have. And I'll go ahead and show you what the range is here on it. It goes from 1 all the way to 6. And if you'll recall, this guy right here, he will let you discard one of your ones that you might have at the end of the game. And there you have it. That is all the components and the rules of what comes with Treasures of the Pharaoh expansion for Sobek 2 players. Let's go back up top and share our thoughts on this new expansion.
And we're back, and now we're going to share our thoughts on Sobek 2 players, Treasures of the Pharaoh expansion. So Sam, as we have already said in our previous video on Sobek 2 players, it was a game that both you and I had a good time with. I think you might have liked it a little bit more than I did, but we did have a good, solid experience with it. Felt like it was a good game. What do you feel like Sobek 2 players, Treasures of the Pharaoh adds to the base game? What does it bring to the table?
I mean, I think it gives you more opportunities to have a higher scoring game, which can always be enjoyable.
Yeah.
And then it adds a little bit of risk with the tiles that you have to draw, which again, losing some points there. So I just think it makes it just knocks it up a notch to bring a little bit more to the table to, you know, exactly what it's meant to do, expand the game.
Yeah, I will agree with that 100%. As I already said, I felt like the base game was a good, but maybe not great experience. I enjoyed what it was. This gives it a little bit more spice. It gives it a little bit more flavor to the game. As Sam has said, that there's some risk factor when you play these Pharaoh tiles. They're helping you complete these sets for big points. So yes, this is a higher scoring game, more excitement, more competition, at the expense of having to take those corruption tiles. And one of the things that I didn't feel like this game did enough of was the corruption side of things. You didn't want to take a whole lot of corruption throughout the course of the game, and so the games you and I played, the corruption was pretty minimal.
Yeah.
You didn't have a whole lot going on when it came to that. Well, this you do. You have a little bit more coming at you when it comes to that, and so you do have to make weightier choices. You have to make choices that are that feel more meaningful, because now I'm taking on more corruption. I see you took on a little bit more corruption, so maybe I can take on a little bit more. And you're just kind of managing that a little bit closer in this game, and it means more. So all around, I thought it was something that added more excitement, more fun to it. But what about for you as a non-gamer? Was it fun, or was it maybe too complicated? Did it add too much complexity?
I don't think either one. I don't think it was too complicated or anything like that. I do think that if this game by itself wasn't a winner for you, that the expansion isn't going to add enough to change that opinion. I think if this game was pretty good, then this would add enough to maybe push it there. And if you really loved this game, I think this adds, you know, the next level to it. So, you know, it's not an expansion that drastically changes the game or adds so much that really changes it, but it adds a little bit.
I think that's a fair assessment, because you're right. It's not going to radically make it something that it wasn't before.
So don't go out and buy them together. I definitely think this is a situation where play this game first, see how you feel. If you don't love it, I just don't feel like the expansion is going to change that enough for you to all of a sudden love the game. But if you liked it, it could be something that really changes it and makes you love it.
Yeah, because that was kind of my experience with it. I liked it, didn't love it. Adding this in, I won't go back to just the straight base game. I will only want to play with this expansion with it. And so that to me means it's a successful expansion when you feel like, oh, I can never go back to the base game.
Yeah.
They did a good job with it. And so now I will say mostly what I'm talking about with my experience with this, the good experience, it revolves around those Pharaoh tiles. The 2 new characters that are added into it, I don't feel like they add a whole lot to it. So I could take them or leave them, but really those Pharaoh tiles are what really spice up the game for me. And when I mean the Pharaoh tiles, I'm also saying those corruption tiles too, and having to draw those at random. That adds a lot to the gameplay experience for me. So I all around felt like it was a good expansion to add. And like Sam said, if you like this one, you do want to go out and check this one. So I think that's a must seek out and have. So Not going to give this one scores just because it's an expansion video and we've already rated the base game. So we're going to leave it at that. But all around, really good experience. I'd give it 2 thumbs up. So
Yeah.
same for you. Yep, well, there you have it. That's our thoughts on Sobek 2 Players Treasures of the Pharaoh expansion. It is the Sobek 2 Players expansion. It's from Pandasaurus Games. Leave us some comments down below. Let us know what you think of it.
Make sure to like and subscribe and push that bell button so you get notifications of all our new content.
I'm Lance.
I'm Sam.
And we are Love to Hate, where we try to bridge the gap between gamers and non-gamers. We'll catch you next time.